like edit. All right, so we're starting the Talk Travel Tuesday today, and today I wanted to kind of jump in and do like an advisor series overview. And Giovanni hopped on, and he was actually the inspiration for the first topic in the advisor series overview. So I just thought that was so great, and I'm so grateful for you, Giovanni, for hopping on because you and I talk a lot in like the direct messages, and I've been kind of poking and prodding to see if I could get some of that conversation out into the community because I think that everything that you offer is exactly the reason why I started this community was I know we all have different focuses or what people would call niches of different either destinations or brands or types of travel, like whether it's cruise or land, or some people even know more than there needs to know, like about flights, like what you were mentioning with flight ticketing too. And then also just your other backgrounds of like marketing and sales, those more general topics and how they can apply to the travel advisor industry. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, I think that'd be great. And then I can kind of just jump back later into what I was trying to build up to, which was trying to go over like the 6 steps of setting yourself up in, your new journey into the travel advisor industry. And I would love like even some feedback in it, and then we can grow from there. All right.
Sure. Sure. So my name is Giovanni, and I live in Tampa Bay, Florida. I am new again to the travel consulting, travel advisor, travel agent service. I I was just telling you, Christine, that I did sell travel back in the day, 1,000 years ago when I was in college. I started out school in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon, and I pretty much um, hooked up with a local travel agency to earn a little bit of commission. And it was mostly airline tickets back then. And it was kind of like the old fashioned credit card machine where you put slips of paper and you had to run this crazy thing back and forth for airline tickets, for all different types of tickets, actually. But I pretty much sold airfare to college student parents visiting for college weekend, or airfare to Europe, your rail passes. Um, Back then, you had to look up everything in an OAG, which was this huge book,
Even imagine.
weighed maybe 3 or 4 pounds, bigger than a phone book. Thomas Cook register for train schedules and stuff. It was very, very manual. Okay. So then I finished school, had a career in advertising and marketing. I worked for a couple of small agencies quickly, and then went out on my own because I had the clients. And it's all about relationships. All sales, all business is about building relationships.
Right.
So sold that business, tried to retire. I have failed at retiring 4 times now because I'm starting something again.
You're not meant for it, right?
Well, I have been traveling for about the last 2.5 years and considering this idea of selling travel. And basically, what pushed me into it is I would meet people in Italy because I know Italy extremely well, which is why Italy is my niche.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for a vacation, you come to me and you say, "Hey, I heard you can sell travel, or I heard you were on this cruise or whatever. I want to go to cruise to Alaska or the Caribbean or wherever." I don't work with you. I need you and want you to put at least a foot inside Italy, and then I'll arrange anything.
Right.
Italy's my passion. My mother's from Rome, and I summered in Italy, and I've been to Italy countless times. I don't know, maybe 60. I don't know. And some years I'm there twice. I, extend my stay as long as possible. I generally take a transatlantic cruise home for like the last 13 or 14 years, which is a great secret because I can bring home tons of weight because the ships don't care how much weight you have.
Right, right.
And getting through customs is super, super easy. Immigration, all that stuff. Actually, a lot of them now will stop. Like I've been taking MSC home, and it'll stop in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is U.S. territory, and that's where you do your immigration. And so
Right.
then when you get back to Miami, let's say if it's Miami, then you're just going through customs, which is a quick walk. Okay, so I had a couple of neighbors asking about Italy, and I'm just amazed because I know it so well that I ask people to create I want a piece of paper from each person, folded in thirds, have three columns.
Right.
And the first column is, I'm only going to Italy if I could get to do these things. These are the top 4 or 5 things I want to do. And then the third column is, I refuse to go on this trip if I'm subjected to do any of these things. And usually, for some people, it's like, I don't want to see too many hotels. I don't want to do this, that, and the other thing. I don't want to stay in a place or whatever. And then the longest list is the second column. And this is what you really would like to do. These are the things that you'd like to do. Not a deal breaker if you can't do it. And where column 1 and column 3 are deal breaker columns.
Right.
So I've helped people and made great recommendations. Go here, go there. Some people I've actually met in Italy, and people have given me generous tips, I guess I would call them. And at first I was like, no, thanks. And they're like, no, we insist. You saved us a lot of money and we want you to have this. And it was like $200 to $500 all the time. So I decided, okay, I'm going to learn about travel the way it's done today, because it's so different from the way it was done in the 80s and the late 70s. And it's a lot easier, I suppose. But
that's good. I'm glad that you're finding it to be a lot easier.
Well, I mean, making a reservation or doing research is tremendously easy because of the internet.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It's very point and click.
Yeah. However, going to school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and New York City, and creating tickets, there was really only a handful of options. There were maybe 30 airlines that you would play with, and Thomas Cook for all the trains, and you knew the major hotels. This is way before the RBO era. Every booking.com was around. Nothing was around back then. None of the .coms were around. And
right.
Today the options are vast. And I've talked to a couple different travel agents, like I mentioned in the blog, school thing last Thursday. It seems to me most agents want the whole cornucopia, all selections.
Right.
And I've never done that in my life. I've always been
overwhelmed.
Yeah, I've always been the upside down guy where I put all my eggs in one basket.
Right.
And I've always been successful. So, in advertising, I had an ad agency in New York, other small businesses that I've started, which were mostly sales and marketing organizations to help wholesalers get into the retail environment. My background is consumer shopping behavior, loyalty programs, and stuff like that. So I comprehend that really, really well. I've written some books on it too. But so the bottom line is, I say niche down, niche down. Actually, I think my niche of Italy, I'd say half of that niche, 50% of my focus is self-driving. There's just a lot of people that resist driving.
Yeah.
Even though it's a pleasure to drive in Italy, it's nothing. It's like driving maybe in, I don't know, Utah, where you have a city here and then there's no traffic until you get to next. Yes, there's trucks. That's about it.
Right.
I recently came out of Potomac, Maryland, where my daughter lives, and I took 81 instead of 95. No all trucks, very light traffic. It reminded me of being in Italy.
Right.
Some people don't. They just think we're the only ones that drive on the right-hand side of the road, and it's only British territories that drive on the left-hand side of the road. So Italy is not a British territory. In fact, nothing in Western Europe is a left-hand drive. So it's all right-hand drive, But so then I would like to niche down. I think I might actually get there maybe in another couple of years. So it's going to be self-drive only. Because I do get some good rapport with some car rental companies, and I sense that they would cut me a better deal than the straight 13% of whatever they offer everybody, out there. And I feel that building that kind of relationship and setting more business to a single vendor,
right,
or 2 or 3 vendors could be a big payday.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I want them to know, hey, this is Giovanni's customer. I want them to treat them with kid gloves and, go the extra mile for them.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of feedback. I'm not sure what that is, but
Smaller or larger?
I'm sorry.
So in that vein, are you thinking like smaller companies or larger companies, like more smaller local companies, or just like Italy based in general?
Well, like for hotels and car rentals and things, no, it, it doesn't matter. I mean, I have made friends, so to speak, with some suppliers that are hotel suppliers, a lot of agritourism
Yeah.
and, which are farm stays or
Then you're
agricultural stays. Some of
right.
them are just beautiful, like its own little resort, but they can only take in like 4 rooms or something. It,
Right.
I mean, some people might think it's like an Airbnb kind of a model, but it's not. It's just agritourism, which is really popular in a lot of countries. Um, but it is popular in Italy too. Um, yeah, so I mean, I know restaurateurs, I know vineyard owners and operators, and a lot of different people that I've met throughout Italy, not just in one concentration. So that's why it's my focus. It's easy for me to talk about. I've driven those roads. I've
Never.
been on the different ferries to get to the different islands with my car rented.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of tricks that I've learned over the years that still apply now. I kind of feel like there's been a real change, and I want to say since like right about COVID 2020. And a lot of it has to do also with like booking.com, Airbnb, some of these other giant kind of places that some things have been for the good for
Mhm.
for travelers. Some of it's been good for me as a travel consultant.
Right.
Have seen where Airbnb in specific, not to throw anybody under the bus, but this is reality. I've got cases of this, but Airbnb is not the hot thing in Italy.
Yeah.
It is available, of course, but it's often let people down. I've tried it over the years. It's let me down. I just won't go that route at all any longer.
Yeah. It's too volatile.
It's volatile, but think I think this is only my perception that Airbnb sides on the side of the customer,
Right.
meaning the renter,
The
and
rent.
not the property owner. And I think property owners have um, been failed by Airbnb time and time again and again. And I think a lot of them just like not doing it now. So
Right. Right.
booking.com is really popular there. Honestly, I've used booking.com because when I travel by car, I may get to an area that I haven't been to in many years. And I was like, wow, I want to see this and I want to spend extra time. Last time I was here was 2 days of rain. And then I may just stay 3 or 4 days. So I like to book as I get into the city. I don't normally for myself,
Yeah.
but I know Italy like I know Florida or New York or Pittsburgh, the places that I've spent, lots and lots of time in. So for me, that's how I kind of roll. But so okay, so then I decided, okay, let me get some travel agent credentials. Let me get into this business and let me start selling. So I knew early on that I would niche to Italy only
Right.
and really go toward the self-drive kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Um, and then I had this idea for this website. And, you can see in the bottom here, travelhappy2.com is my website. It's a disaster. The front page is terrible. I've never got around to fixing it. I've tried hiring people, but I like the theme. And a lot of people don't work with this particular theme on WordPress. And so I don't really know what to do with it, but I did do additional pages. I do charge $400 up front to
Right.
begin working with somebody. Which shocks a lot of people, but I will tell you, a lot of my business so far has been word of mouth, or people have seen some of my videos and read a couple of my blog posts or whatever and found me that way.
Right.
And they're like, okay, you're the guy I want to deal with. And I don't want to deal with cheap people.
Yeah. $400 is nothing, Giovanni, honestly.
Well, if you want to fly to Rome and see all of Italy in 7 or 10 days, I'm not your guy. It's
That's what I figured.
not going to happen, So and a lot of people think that they can do it. And really what they end up doing is just standing in long lines and they're always packing a suitcase. And unpacking and whatever, those are the type of people that amazes me that they're actually pulling a suitcase with them when in reality they should be just living out of a backpack because
Yeah.
they would speed up, they would save themselves probably 2 hours a day,
Yeah.
dragging and resting. Yeah. But
So tell me, what was your first experience in Italy? Like, how old were you? What drew you to? Where did you
I was a
travel?
boy.
Oh
I
yeah,
was a boy. My mom's from Rome, so it was
right.
going over and seeing relatives and all that
Oh,
in
that's wonderful.
summer.
And then,
Yeah.
what's your next trip? Like, do you already have your next trip planned?
Oh yeah. So I'm actually working with Colette at the
Yeah.
moment, and we're kind of putting together some separate tours. I only need like 40 people to make it doable, and I have probably about 50 people that want to do something. So will they be on the first, second, or third tour in 26, or I'm going to repeat it in 27 also. Um,
You know
and
they're going to hire you.
I'm sorry.
I said, you know, Colette is going to hire you. Do you?
I don't think so. I don't need to work full time. I
Yeah, I
certainly
understand.
don't. Um, I try to do like marketing to market myself and keep information out there, create a couple of videos, informational stuff, PDF downloads, cheat sheets. I try to do that routinely. So that takes a couple of hours a
But
week or a day
just
or whatever. Yeah. And so I kind of work in spurts, but I
yeah.
just got back from being away for 4 weeks. And I'm not the guy that goes away for 7 days or anything like that. Even a 7 day cruise is not exciting to me. A lot of people are like, let's do it. I'm like, nah, you go. Have fun. I want 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, my transatlantic was 26 days on the MSCC side. And even then I was just like, oh, I'm just getting into it, But
Out of Florida, you said.
I am. I live in Tampa, but most of the ships come in and out of the East Coast, like Miami.
Like Miami and things.
Yeah. I learned that Miami, Barcelona, and Rome are the three largest, busiest cruise ports in the world. And it's not because of passenger cruises, it's largely because of freight,
Right, right.
you know. So that's just something else to think about. But Miami's massive now. I mean, MSC has a colossal terminal there, and
World America. Yeah.
Virgin is there now too. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
I love that you, I know that your host agency focuses maybe on cruises, or at least it's in the name, but I love that
Yeah.
you still have that, even though you've niched into Italy. I mean, your transatlantic sound incredible. I'm still in the mindset of 10-day trips just because I have three little ones, but I do long for the days when I can just take 4 weeks. But I always wonder what makes you come home. You know, like it's like, how have you not bought one of those $1 properties in Italy yet?
Well, so everybody asks me that question for years now. The truth of the matter is, everything's for sale in Italy.
Yeah.
You know, and everything will always be for sale in Italy. For me
Right.
to go and buy something and fix it up, and I've seen some amazing opportunities.
Right.
Um, but it will always be for sale. I'll never sell it, and I don't want to do that. I have a beautiful home here, and I love gardening. I love coming home. I love getting home. But the old adage is no place like home, and your own bed, your own bathroom, and all that stuff. So I kind of like to get back to a routine.
Yeah, I can understand that.
The I think something psychologists never seem to mention, and I always feel this, is that when you're sitting around the house or you're just doing your regular stuff at home, whether you're shopping, whatever, that voice gets inside your head and people start to stress and worry, and all these different factors. The crud gets in your life, gets in the way. But when you travel, you don't have that voice in your head. Everything's happy. What am I going to see today? What am I going to explore today? Who will I meet today? What kind of food will I eat today? You don't think about that kind of stuff when you're at home. So traveling is really great to relieve stress and anxiety and all that stuff. So, and that's one of the things I might talk about with somebody, when I meet with them. Basically, I try to do everything on the phone. I do meet some people in person. But but I don't want to just do, I'm not one of those texters and email only kind of a thing. I do have a form that after you pay my $400 for the couple, if it's a group, I go up in price. And then I send you a link that fills out my Q&A as much as you can. You know, some things are applicable to people with kids and some things are just not.
Right.
And uh, uh, once I get those answers, then I begin working and everything. And sometimes it takes people 3 or 4 days to fill out, you know, my form. And I have it all part of Google Sheets. And, you know, there's another thing I want to work on too. But I
Yeah.
just, I think I resolved that I'll get all the marketing done because I'm busy with clients. And, you know, that's a priority because I'm just so excited for them to go see,
I love it.
you know, Italy. I mean, really appreciate it and, you know, walk the streets that have been walked on, you know, 1,300 years ago and, you know, walking the buildings that are 800 years old that haven't changed. Maybe they've added an elevator or updated to LED lighting or something, but, you know, it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
It is. And it really does shift your mindset for sure. And you've touched on so many things in this conversation. I wanted to thank you, but some of the things that I was just jotting down of thoughts that I would love to expand on a little bit more, and I'll let you go. But things like you mentioned that you charge a fee. You know, not everybody, not everybody in the industry charges fees, but I think that it really does. It changes the mindset of the client that they're more committed now. 400 is truly so affordable for the amount of service that you're offering them. And you mentioned that you do, files like PDFs and marketing materials that might make their trip easier. You,
Right.
you have a great form. I've seen your form. It is phenomenal. There's like one thing too, that's kind of like the next step. And if you ever wanted to remove friction with some people, if they're taking 3 to 4 days to start that form, you could minimize it to just like, when's a great time for us to talk? Because I do find sometimes with my older clientele, they get lost on a form.
Oh, true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's much more hands-on. And some of them, I'm in a 55 plus community where I live, and it's the largest in the entire southeast of the US. And it's like 8 square miles. And uh, so I have met with a lot of people here at my kitchen table, or I've gone to their home. Sometimes I just recently met with a bunch of ladies, and it was going to be 7, talking about the double occupancy thing, saving a couple of dollars or whatever. But I think now it's going to be 10 women. They're going to go there. And I think I'm going to put them on one of those tours. I started back in the day helping people research their family history. And then it would include like visiting a cemetery because the cemeteries are amazing in Italy. These kind of like mausoleum things. Even if it's a small grave marker, there's a photograph of that person and a little bit of information on them too. It's amazing. And then you could walk the town that your grandfather walked in, or maybe see where he worked. The buildings are still there. Trust me. It's not like America where after 30 years someone knocks a house down or a building down and builds something newer.
Yeah.
That really gets into the fabric and the culture. That's the stuff that really excites me. And, the recipes change. Somebody on your classroom, the school thing, asked me like, what's my favorite place in Italy? I was like, oh, that's a trick question. It really depends, it depends upon the time of the year, different holidays in different locations, or different things I want to see or do, or foods I want to eat, or drinks I want to drink, whether it's limoncello or wine or whatever, So, yeah, but I like spending time with people and getting all of their, these are the deal breakers. I want to do all this.
Right.
So I want
I love your idea of the trifold of like, what are your musts, what are your like not deal breakers, and then what are your nots. That's such a good way for people to really sit down and think about it. Because some people do just come to you and they're like, I don't know, it's on my bucket list, Italy. Tell me what to do, where to start. And it's just like, have to guide them, and get an idea.
I had a married couple. She was a physician and I think he was an engineer. Okay, so schooled,
Right.
brains, and they each came with their list, and they both wanted to do certain things of places that they'd heard of in Italy. And
Mm-hmm.
it was not in a particular order by city, but much to my surprise, they didn't even know. These are educated people that like four of the locations that they each wanted were just in Rome and all within walking distance of one another. And they're like, oh, that's in Rome too. And that's in Rome. And that's, I was like, yeah. And then this is Florence. And, so it was amazing to me that some people just don't know.
Right.
And, but, I grew up there. So it was, my culture, my heritage, but
Right.
it's amazing. It's really interesting. And, these people had a great time. I get amazing reviews and glowing reviews. I'm trying to get more people to add them on
Yeah.
like Facebook. So that way I could just kind of copy
Where
and
you
paste
get the
or,
reviews.
yeah.
You should
So,
put it on your website too. And it's okay if your website's imperfect, but
oh,
definitely put some testimonials on there.
the whole front page is a disaster because it's like all the stuff from the theme. You got to get into it, and I just haven't had time to get back to it. I started it, I think, about this time last year, and I've just been busy,
That's okay.
and I'm really not that type that wants to figure out coding and all that other stuff. And I've hired different people, and that's the trick is you got to go with one person to do the whole thing from start to finish. Otherwise, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And I think a lot of that's true with planning travel also.
Great.
I did work with somebody kind of last minute. Money wasn't an issue for them, and they wanted a couple more things to do. And the route that they were going to take was so chaotic. I was like, why are you doing this to go there, then to go back there? And well, that's what their travel agent had recommended.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I think, and I'll tell you right up front, I promote that I'm $400 because I'm going to give you more than $400 worth of value and savings.
Right.
And I'm not a travel agent that's just going to book the things that I earn the highest commission on.
Oh my gosh. Right. Yeah.
So, I think that appeals to people that are, savvy. I mean, people are wealthy and they're not looking for the cheapest deal, and I didn't want to unravel what this other people were doing. So I added like 3 different reservations for them. But
Gotcha. Good.
yeah, I think it's better if you start with one agent and, from the moment you leave your house to the moment you get home, they're taking care of everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Although
Absolutely.
I don't always do air travel,
Yeah.
sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It can be a hassle.
But I saw you post a little bit about that you do use affiliate links too. Which ones do you use Viator? I saw, yeah,
Viator, I honestly get probably 3 to 6, 7 bookings a week.
that's amazing. I know
Yeah,
a little bit here and there, but I mean, it can only get better.
and I'm trying to figure out. I think the average commission's around $48 to $50 or something,
Okay.
usually for 2 people. Oddly enough, I just received a. Let me move this over so I can read my screen. I just received an email from Viator to somebody, Matthew M., who I never met, that pulled something off of a link, and it's a full day Bologna, a full day food factory tour and wine tasting. And it says, Chad, we're very sorry to reach out with this news, but unfortunately, the driver assigned your tour has fallen ill due to the high season. Blah, blah, blah. We haven't been able to find a suitable replacement in time. So that's a major disappointment. And I'm sad about it, because it's a great tour.
Hmm.
It's a great city. And for those of you that don't know, Bologna has 2 leaning towers.
That I didn't know. I'm curious with Viator, you could probably reach out to their chat, but I'm sure that they've already resolved the issue with the client directly, since you probably don't know who they are.
I do not know who they are, and that's the weird thing when you're doing those affiliate type links or whatever. They only give you 3 pieces of information: the
Right.
person's name, sometimes it's not even a full name,
Hmm.
the tour that they have purchased, and the price. And then you have to go to Viator and log into Viator to their dashboard, and then you get more information, including the commission and the dates and all that stuff. So I kind of feel like I'm doing double duty. I did put something in your
In the
uh,
chat, yeah.
yeah, asking, hey, has anybody got a all-in-one, easy to report or track commissions and sales and stuff? But
And I'm going to hop in there and I'm going to reply to you because I think that we all, as independent advisors, have our own systems of what works best for us. Like for me, I'm a spreadsheet kind of girl. So
yeah,
that's really what I do. But I think that there's a meeting coming up. To your other end, you mentioned something about like how you keep an eye out on those emails, and that's how you find out about in-person events. There was an event coming up with Viator. I think they're updating how we can work those affiliate links, those referral links, a
I
little bit
got
better that we can manage them.
I got that email yesterday saying to manage the booking. I see the manage the booking link, and I went and tried it. But the weird thing is, it's next to impossible to email back to Viator. But the link does not yet. It did not work yesterday. I did receive it saying, "Hey," but
I
I
think
don't
people
know
have said it's not helping.
yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have the person's email,
Right.
um, especially because then I could do future marketing,
Oh, absolutely.
but or invite them to log in. I started a travel in Italy Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
private group, which I'm hoping will turn into something. And it's one of those things I'm slowly feeding,
For sure.
slowly getting customers.
But you're getting most of them
Prospects.
from in person and the referrals. And then you also have a little bit like your Facebook and your YouTube.
Yeah, but I have a Facebook business account for Travel Happy Too, and then the Facebook group for Travel Happy Too. And I originally started Travel Happy Two, the number two, everywhere or anywhere, or Travel Happily to Italy. So I kind of left it open because I have sold some Mediterranean cruises and a couple of transatlantics coming back from Italy or Barcelona. Um, and I have helped people get out of Italy and see like Austria and Switzerland or Monaco and France, adjoining areas. Um, and then somebody a ferry to Greece. And then from Greece they flew home. But yeah, I'm loving it so far. It's been fun. But I'm steering clear of cheap people.
I think we all are. Well, thank you so much for doing so much. Like you definitely took everything that, and I know you say you're not a text person, but basically, all the messages that you were sending me, I'm like, this is gold. This is all so interesting.
And I'm
Um,
loquacious, as you can tell. I just ramble on and on. So
that's
somebody
okay though.
but even my posting are long, but
That's okay.
I
At the
try
end,
to be thorough. So, there's not a lot of reading between the lines.
you can also feel the passion. You know what I mean? The passion that you have
Oh,
for it,
oh,
and the
good. Thanks.
have. Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, I'll hop into the chat and answer a few more of just my thoughts, but that's how we definitely grow. And then also feel free to share your Facebook groups, any other way we can support you, your YouTube channel, just knowing that we can reach out to you. So you basically hit everything that I was going to chat about today. I was going to talk about like why did you choose travel or even like that particular destination. So just trying to define your niche. So things like profitable, joyful niches. So things like cruises could be good niches, or a destination, or a brand, or group travel. Guided tours like Colette. All of those are really good niches. But also making sure, and not just for you, but for maybe people who are newer into the industry, that they're also profitable too. That they're actually making some money. And then narrowing down some ideal client types. So I know my personal journey when I first started, I thought I have a family, I'm going to speak well to families. And then I figured out that just like you said, they're a little bit cheaper, they have a little more budget, conscious. And also there was a little bit more anxiety because they've got children that they're dealing with. So
Right.
I quickly veered away from that and decided that my niche was in the business that had always been my background, which was romance travel. So that's my
Right.
favorite. So I usually do couples. That's what I'm dealing with. Very rarely do I do families, but if I do, it's kind of a family where the children are kind of moving into college or into married life, and the parents are trying to do one or two last like bucket list trips to Italy,
Right.
Portugal, Greece, with grown adult children. So that's kind of I find my clientele. And then just always saying that niches definitely evolve. You know, where your topic might be today might veer or might hone in more, like you mentioned, you know, more destination and even moving closer towards self-driving. But you know, we're going to get into these other topics, you know, embracing the benefits of being an independent advisor, because there's definitely franchise opportunities, there's host agencies, there's so many things that you can do, but understanding the benefits of being an independent contractor and how that's evolved from when you even first started in the industry. When I
Mhm.
think about those days of, you know, physical tickets and airline ticketing, and when our the owner of our company has been in business for over 75 years, and they talk about the same, these massive machines that they would use to do ticketing.
Oh,
We have it so easy these days, truly. Week three, I want to talk more about like personal brands. So like things like your website, you know, what really speaks to you, thinking like a logo, business cards, how you want to come off in your marketing, setting up your sales tools in week four. So that inquiry form that you were mentioning out, welcome, email, some sort of systems so that every time someone reaches out to you, you know very easily how you want to reach out to your clients and how you want to then follow a process, making sure that you don't have to overthink it. And then week five, really kind of getting into practicing that pitch and building your confidence so that you can feel like you've got an elevator speech for your guests and you can really, you know, touch people and know exactly what it is that your focus is. And then week six is kind of really just talking about making sure that you're launching your business and staying consistent, because as you'll see, you know, you'll have all sorts of ideas as an entrepreneur and those will ebb and flow, but staying consistent with your inputs will make sure that your outputs are what you're looking for. And I think I wanted to throw another training that I was working on today was just learning how to scale and grow and measure, have some sort of goals in place so that you can measure each week, you know, are you meeting your goals of your inputs so that your outputs are what you'd like? Um, so that's just a quick overview of what my goals were to those first 6 steps to success. And then also we're going to be inviting more and more people on who have specialties in either sales or marketing or destinations or brands so that we can all grow, and we'll continue to record these and even just sharing experiences, you know, what trips do you have coming up? What trips were your favorite? We can just do some open office hours on days where we might not have a topic. For me, I'm actually not going to be hosting next Tuesday simply because I will be in Jamaica. I've gotten invited to a destination wedding conference
wow.
in Jamaica next week, which is really cool, with the brand Couples Resorts. So I'll be doing 4 days of training in Jamaica, visiting their 4 resorts. So unfortunately, I won't be able to host. Maybe I'll ask Kim. Maybe Kim can host next week and we can continue this. But I just thought talking travel on Tuesdays, you know, Mondays can be a little hectic, but on Tuesdays early in the morning, I could just daydream about travel all day long and wanted to meet some other people. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. I'm so grateful for everything that you shared, and definitely hop into the community. And if you guys aren't familiar, this is basically what it looks like. So if you want to write anything, you click up here. You can pop it into one of these specific tabs, whether it's a destination, a daily win, marketing, mentoring. You can just pop some vacation photos in there. The more and more you interact, you'll move up on the leaderboard, which is over here, which is great. And then we're going to do prizes at the end of every month. Because if you understand anything about school, the more interactive you are on it, which also gets you good at being interactive on like Facebook or any social media platform, the more they're going to push you out there. So more people will know about our group and more people will join so that we can all share. And then we'll have people in different destinations and different niches so that we can all grow a little bit more. Because I know we have some people who love YouTube and all sorts of other fun things too. So for you, Giovanni, like other people could help you with maybe your website or help you grow your YouTube if you ever do decide you would like to monetize some of those things you put out there. But
Oh,
also,
I'm interested. I don't know that I want to monetize the YouTube thing, but I just really want it for information. And I've had a couple of other agents, I only two actually, that have actually shared one of my videos on driving in Italy. I mean, to see it, I think is different. So
I think you're doing a great job. I've watched a few of your videos too, for sure.
okay.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to hop up and then we'll see you all. I'll pop it in the chat when I can be on next. All right.
Absolutely. Ciao, ciao tutti.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.